Well, Buttigieg butts out. He is no longer running for president of the United States of America in the 2020 race. He is gone. He is out of there. Why? When Super Tuesday is just around the corner? Why quit now? Well, former Mayor Pete Buttigieg suspended his presidential campaign Sunday in an effort to unite his fractured party, a campaign aide for the Democrat told Fox News. Buttigieg wants to unite the party right now, and he thinks that getting out of the race before Super Tuesday is the best way to do that, the unnamed aide told the Fox News correspondent, Peter Ducey. Campaign staffers for the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, announced earlier Sunday he's ending his presidential campaign in an abrupt and surprising pullout that further narrowed the field of Democrats less than a month after he declared victory in the contested Iowa caucus. Okay, so he's bailing out before Super Tuesday, and he's doing this on a Saturday. No, excuse me, he's doing this on a Sunday before Super Tuesday. Now, what's interesting is if he wants to unite the party, and let's face it, the big money maker on Super Tuesday is California and Texas, in that order. But let's look at what California is doing. Let's see, early voting starts in LA County with some hiccups reported, and this story dates back to, let's see, did they even put the date on there? It was last week. So people have been voting in California a week already. There it is, posted February 23rd. And this is March 1st. So people have been voting for 7 days. And all those early voters who voted for this guy, or Tom Steyer, because he quit too, all those votes are for nothing. This is what happens when you ignore the Constitution and you don't have voting day. Not voting month, voting week, voting season. No. You can only have a fair election because of your candidate dropping out. But no, you've already voted for your candidate, and now they're just a big dropout loser, and your vote now means nothing because you didn't respect the Constitution, regardless of what your government did with early voting. If you respect the Constitution and you vote on voting day, well, then you get to vote for the candidates, I don't know, that are alive, actually in the race. Otherwise, everybody who voted for Steyer or for Buttigieg and all the others that have dropped out in the last week, sucks to be you. All right, that's not the only issue that's happening with early voting. This is the new iPad digital voting for California. California, up until this election, voted with ink stampers. California was allowed to, in the year 2000, make fun of Florida with their hanging chads because an ink blot stamper doesn't create a hanging chad. It creates an ink blot stamp. And there was no question whatsoever of who you voted for and what you voted for. Whereas Florida had hanging chads. And for those that are old enough to remember, it was not fun. But now, and let's go back to Iowa, the Iowa caucus. You know, the one that Pete Buttigieg won, where it took weeks to get it right. But the week after, New Hampshire had theirs. And New Hampshire said, well, you know what? We use pencil and paper. You can't hack a pencil and paper. That's correct. You can't hack an ink blot either. But what does California do? Does California maintain a simple system that actually works and cannot be hacked? And no, of course not. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade? I think not. To digital, which anybody who knows anything about computers knows all computers are hackable. I'm not saying they're going to be hacked by foreign agents, though they could be. No, all you have to do is have one person, like at Twitter, like at Google, and all those other places where there was been monkeying around against conservatives. You just need somebody to work at the registrar's office and hack it, and voila. Because guess what? Once the person's sworn in, if they discover that it's been hacked after the person is sworn in, and let's not forget, if it's a Democrat that's sworn in, do you think they're really going to reverse it? Ain't gonna happen. And the people that do the hacking are going to be fully aware of that. What is the saying? Do it and apologize later. Even if they go to jail, many would be quite happy to go to jail for their Democratic candidate to take over, which is just says a lot. All right, so those who voted early, on this new system. Oh, and I know this is a California thing, so I won't spend much time on it, but they got rid of hundreds and hundreds of places to vote. And now you can go anywhere in the county to vote. But what they don't tell you until you actually get there is, but you can only vote on the stuff for your neighborhood if you vote in the center in your neighborhood. Because if you go to a different county, you can only vote on certain things. But let's look deeper into this. Campaigns worry that California's election rules, new election rules at that, could lead to an Iowa state snafu, situation normal, all fouled up. In case you don't know what that stands for, some people choose not to use the word fouled up. They use a different F word. Food? No, different word. Let's see. Now, just a couple of days out from California's March 3rd primary campaign, election administrators here are officially sweating the small stuff. California allows voters to cast their ballots early by mail. Yeah, all those of you that voted for Buttigieg, congratulations. Or Tom Sawyer. Hundreds of thousands already have, suckers. It allows people to register to vote on election day. The simple how-to of voting can differ county to county. Yeah, that makes sense. And the state is now inviting an electorate, accustomed to non-partisan, every name on the same ballot election to participate in a decidedly partisan primary if they can figure out how. And again, this is all put in place in order to make sure Republicans don't win. And it's worked really well. There are no Republicans in office in California. Hence this online campaign video from Bernie Sanders about the minutia of the state election procedure. Hey, California! The Vermont senator says directly into the camera, if you want to participate in the presidential primary, you need to request a Democrat ballot. Sanders, who holds a commanding lead in most California primary polls, then proceeds to wade through some of the more esoteric points of the state election law. How no party preference Californians can vote by mail. How they can vote in person. Or what they can do and what they've already received with a ballot without the names of any presidential candidates on it. Answers to the last one: don't use your old NPP ballot. Just run in the new Democratic crossover ballot, Sanders said, diligently rattling off the list of terms and acronyms and what they mean, absolutely nothing to voters outside of California, before directing confused supporters to a hotline. It's not just that. Are independents in for a ballot disappointment? Yeah, they don't actually get to vote. They're supposed to be wide open because that was what they used to destroy the Republicans getting elected in California. But again, just like Massachusetts does, they cater at each election to make sure that no Republicans ever find their way back onto the ballot or reelected. As in elected, not, you know what I mean. Okay, now, what about late ballots and all the other fun stuff? Somewhere in here it mentions you can actually register to vote on the day of registration. Yeah, that's not going to prompt any fraud. No. And again, nobody's going to be looking for fraud as long as all the Democrats win. In California, ballot counting is slow by design. In 2016, that would be the Donald Trump election against Hillary, and 2018 primaries, again against Trump, it took it... No, it wasn't against Trump. He wasn't on the ballot. No, but they were doing everything they could to make Nancy Pelosi get back in power and impeach him. And they did! It took over 30 days to count every last ballot in the state, even those that registered very late. This time around, the day of the election. We take our time... Oh, take a look at this chart. So, 30 days. So if you think Super Tuesday is over on Super Tuesday, don't even bet on it, because the ballots are allowed to roll in, I believe it's up to 3 days later. I tried to find it in this article, and I read it in another article not long ago. But as many as, for sure, 2 days, and I think 3 days, that your ballots can come in, and they're still totally legal. So, yeah, we're not getting Super Tuesday numbers in California until, well, like I said, as many as 30 days. And since this election will be bigger than 2016 and 2018, it's don't be surprised if it isn't 45 days. You know, which is when coronavirus has pretty much wiped out everybody. And there you go. There's your update on Buttigieg and how Super Tuesday is not going to be so super after all. Maybe Super Tuesday 5 weeks later when California finally gets done counting all their ballots that were done on a computer instead of with ink. And remember what New Hampshire said. You can't hack a pen and paper, but you sure can hack those laptops. California upgraded to a worse system, spending more money to do it and fully being aware they were upgrading to a worse system. You can only wonder why they chose that method. We'll see you in the future.